So I said, you know what? You are absolutely right. What I want is not as important as what's right for the baby. You know what I mean? So we went to the hospital at about maybe 6:45 a.m. around that time. So I had been in labor like pretty much since about 1 a.m. But again, it wasn't active labor. And as I'm thinking about it now, when I was going through it, I'm thinking these labor pains are the worst. But as I'm thinking about it now, it really wasn't as bad as like active labor. And they were bearable. You know what I mean? So I get to the hospital and they check me and I am maybe 2 centimeters dilated. So I'm having these contractions. And at this point, I'm just dealing with it. I'm just getting through it. You know, it is what it is. And so they transferred me to the labor and delivery floor and they checked me again. And at this point, I want to say I was maybe 3 centimeters at the most. And I remember them saying, we're probably going to have to give her some Pitocin. And just because of going through birthing classes and just, you know, researching a ton, I knew what that was, even though they didn't tell me. I think they told my midwife and they told my husband. I remember hearing like, wait a minute, this means you're going to induce me. And I am one where I don't take medicine. And I typically don't like medical intervention. That's, again, my very, very personal preference. So then they're like, and we also have to give you antibiotics, which my midwife warned me. And she's like, I know how you feel about antibiotics, but they're going to give it to you because your water broke. It's been broken for 24 hours at this point. Actually, over 24 hours at this point. So they have to give you antibiotics to make sure the baby's safe. I'm at the hospital. Let's do what hospitals do. All right, give me the antibiotics. So I'm laying there. I'm still having contractions. They're like, we can, you know, give you a little bit of pain medicine in your IV. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But let me back up. When I checked into the hospital, they asked me, have you ever been here before? And I said, no. And she kind of looked like, are you okay? I was like, I've never been in a hospital before in my life, like me as the patient. I've never been admitted to the hospital. And she said, oh, wow, really? I'm like, no, this is my first time. But I'm so happy because my midwife called the hospital ahead of time, totally let them know I was coming, let them know that I was scheduled for a home birth. So they were so gracious. They knew that, okay, this is a mom who was anticipating a home birth. Maybe she is not accustomed to hospitals. Maybe she has negative views about hospitals. Maybe she doesn't like doctors, whatever it is. They were so gracious. They were so gracious. They were amazing. Exceeded my expectations. Anyhow, so to skip back forward, and the nurse told me, she said, it'll take a little bit of the edge off, but you're still gonna feel it. And at this point, after being in labor over 12 hours, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever you can do to help take the edge off. And that's exactly what it did. It literally took a smidge of the edge off. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I'm not gonna act like it didn't help. It did help a little bit, but it was very temporary. Because when they gave me the medicine to take the edge off, they also gave me some Pitocin not far after. And if you do not know what Pitocin is the medicine they give you to induce your labor. So it forces your body to contract, to push the baby down. So the pain level from a regular contraction versus a Pitocin-induced contraction is like to the nth degree. It is on a whole nother level that nobody warned me about, okay? So it's funny, I was just talking to my husband about this. I literally remember laying there, having contractions, and at this point, I've learned how to deal with them. I've learned how to get through them. My midwife is coaching me through. She totally turned into doula mode. So I'm getting through them. And then I'm laying there in between contractions. And I just remember, and it almost felt like somebody had like electrocuted me. I said, what in the hell just happened? And they were like, that would be the Pitocin that just kicked in. And I'm like, but wait, why is it so strong? Like, what's happening? Like, I wasn't ready. And again, to skip forward a little bit, of course, wanting a home birth, you probably can imagine that I did not want an epidural. So I still didn't want an epidural, but at this point it was about, I would say about 1 o'clock. So I've been in labor for hours and hours and hours. And I'm sitting there and I looked at my husband and I said, I can't do it anymore. I said, this is so hard. It's like I've never experienced this type of pain. Like the regular labor pains were something. This is on a whole nother level. Like I can't do it anymore. And I went through those Pitocin pains. I don't even know how long, but it was a long time, to the point where the doctor was like, if she doesn't dilate like really, really, really soon, we're going to have to do an emergency cesarean. And Lord knows that's just not what I wanted. Like again, this is all my personal views and opinions. I'm not judging anyone who they had to get a cesarean or that was your preference or whatever it is. My personal preference was that I wanted a natural, unmedicated vaginal birth. And I already was laying up in the hospital, which is what I didn't want to do, but I ended up there. And so I'm going through it, and they were supposed to come in and give me an epidural. So it took them forever. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is taking so long? So they finally get in, and the lady, I don't know the proper name, but the woman who administers the epidural had a girl that she was training. So I am like, you're about to give me an epidural on your training day? Hurry up and get it done. So I'm thinking, I don't want this girl to be doing this while she's being trained, but I am in so much pain. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. So they're back there and they're asking me all these questions, talking really slow. She's trying to walk the girl through. And like, do you understand this? And do you understand that? I'm like, yes. And then she says, have you ever had any numbness in any of your legs or arms or back? And I said, since you've been pregnant, I made a mistake and told her yes. I had to sign off on more paperwork. They asked more details, all while going through Pitocin-induced contractions. So they're like, oh my God, you're so strong. I'm like, I don't want to hear how strong I am. I want these pains to go away. Like, can you get this done? So they're back there, and make a long story short, they couldn't get it to work. They couldn't find the place to put it. I don't know. I don't even know what happened. All I know is that they couldn't figure it out. And I was in so much pain. I'm like, I'm going to die. But I'm bracing it. I'm handling it. And I remember screaming to my husband, I've got to poop. And when the doctor heard that, and actually my midwife was outside with the doctor, and she said when she heard it, she was like, yes, because she knew what it meant. And my husband said, okay, all right, she's got to go to the bathroom. The doctor said, let's check her. And once they checked me, his head was right there ready to come out. So I had the baby in a couple of pushes, and he came on out. The doctor told me I was trying to push him up. I was trying to push him out through the wall because I was in pain for so long. I didn't want to, I was like, Lord, I don't want any tearing down there. I don't want this. I don't want that. Listen, when it was time to get that baby out, I pushed with all of my might. I pushed so hard. The doctor was like, whoa, okay, let's catch the baby. I'm like, you told me to push? Let's go, doc. So I had the baby. Oh my gosh. And I cried. I couldn't believe he was mine. I mean, I knew I had a baby inside of me, obviously, but I was in amazement that this little human was living inside of me and was now born. And he was, oh my gosh, he was wonderful. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was wonderful, and just made it all worth it. It made it all worth it. And I personally wanted to encapsulate my placenta. So the hospital that I was at allowed my midwife to take it out in a cooler, but it was amazing. So that is my birthing story. And if you guys want me to share more, have any questions for me around it, or how I dealt with postpartum and all those fun things with having a baby and breastfeeding. Oh my gosh, I could tell you a thing or two about breastfeeding. I am still breastfeeding my son. Yes, I am that mom breastfeeding a toddler, and I am okay with it because he is one of the healthiest kids I've ever known. So I could tell you a thing or two or three or four about breastfeeding. So that's all for now, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so warm and fuzzy thinking about everything. And he's in there taking a nap. He's so precious. Okay, that's all. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.